This presentation is about the special senses smell and taste. Just about now, the sight of this pizza is maybe triggering a memory of how a yummy, fresh cheese and pepperoni smothered pie tastes and smells. To help you understand how this pizza creates such pleasure, let's explore the human body's sense of smell and taste. Gustation, our sense of taste, is also called contact chemoreception because a flavor is sensed when we come into contact with it. The tongue is the main sensory organ of the gustatory system. You may have learned in elementary school that the tongue is divided into different taste zones, each detecting a different taste. The front of the tongue was said to detect sweet, the back bitter, and the sides salty and sour. This is in fact false. The taste map is the result of a misinterpretation of a study from the early 1900s, but the idea had incredible staying power, which is why you probably learned about it in elementary school. The sense of taste is much more complex than a simple map. Thousands of taste buds in our mouth help us enjoy that pizza. A taste bud consists of 50 to 150 gustatory cells, which are the taste receptors, as well as supportive and regenerative cells. As you can see in the diagram, a taste bud is pear-shaped, with gustatory cells arranged around a central taste pore. A gustatory cell is a non-neural epithelial cell with a gustatory microvillus, also called a taste hair, at its dendritic ending. This microvillus is the receptive part of the cell and protrudes through the taste pore. Gustatory cells will live for 7 to 10 days and are regenerated by the basal cells. As we age beyond 50, food begins to taste a little bit more bland due to the reduction in gustatory cell regeneration. Now, to pose a question for you, is it true or false that taste buds are only found on the tongue? This is in fact false. While taste buds are primarily found on the dorsal surface of the tongue, they are also distributed on the mouth palate, the epiglottis, and have even been found in the intestine. Stick out your tongue. That rough surface you feel and see is due to papillae. These are epithelial and connective tissue bumps that cover the dorsal surface of the tongue. There are 4 types, 3 of which house taste buds. The filiform are the only type that do not house taste buds. Instead, they sense texture and aid in food manipulation. They cover the anterior 2/3 of the tongue surface. Foliate papillae contain some taste buds in early childhood, but remain poorly developed in adults. They cover the posterior lateral tongue. Fungiform papillae are also located on the lateral side of the tongue, as well as the tip, and house a few taste buds. The valvulate papillae house most of our taste buds, but interestingly, as you can see in the diagram, there are only 10 to 12 of these, and they're located in a V shape at the back of the tongue. These valvulate house the taste buds in depressions that surround each papillae. In order for you to taste that delicious pizza, saliva must first dissolve the food components. These dissolved taste ligands are then detected by the taste receptors. Each taste receptor is sensitive to only one taste. The tongue is able to detect 5 different tastes: sweet, salt, sour, bitter, and umami. Sweet taste results from organic compounds like sugar. Salty tastes come from metal ions like sodium, while sour comes from acids. Bitter tastes from alkaloids such as coffee, and umami comes from glutamate and aspartate. Did you know umami, which was originally neglected in the taste map, is Japanese for delicious and is responsible for that meaty and savory taste that enhances the flavor of food. This is why MSG, monosodium glutamate, is used as a food additive to enhance flavor. Interestingly, there may actually be a 6th taste. Scientists have found taste receptors for fatty acids in the mouth and intestine, but still need to determine the signal pathway for fatty acids before they classify fat as a 6th taste. The interaction between a taste ligand and taste receptor activates primary sensory neurons that conduct information through cranial nerves. The glossopharyngeal nerve also known as the cranial nerve 9, provides us with taste sensations originating from the posterior third part of the tongue, while the facial nerve, cranial nerve 7, provides taste information from the anterior two-thirds of the tongue. Cranial nerves 9 and 7 will synapse on the medulla, which then passes sensory information through the thalamus to the gustatory cortex in the insula of the cerebrum. Why is it that a bad cold prevents you from fully enjoying that pizza? Well, taste is actually a lot more complex than just the taste buds. The interaction between taste, texture, temperature, and most importantly, smell, all contribute to the perception of taste. As we chew food, some of the molecules travel through the back of your throat up into the nose and enhance the taste. Next time you're eating food, plug your nose. You'll see how much duller the flavor is. Now let's turn our attention to this important sense of smell. Olfaction, our sense of smell, is able to identify thousands of odors. In fact, a 2014 study found that humans can detect over 1 trillion different scents. Among these scents, there are 8 primary odors that are recognized by most people, including waxy, fishy, malty, minty, musky, and sweaty. Secondary odors are those that are not detected by all, and they result from a combination of different chemicals. Interestingly, the human olfactory system is much less developed and less sensitive relative to other animals. Our paired olfactory organs are located in the nasal cavity. These organs consist of an olfactory epithelium, which is a pseudostratified columnar epithelium, and it's located in the superior area of the nasal cavity. It covers the inferior cribriform plate surface and the superior nasal concave. It contains the olfactory receptor cells, supporting and basal cells. The lamina propria is internal to the olfactory epithelium and is composed of aoral connective tissue with Bowman glands that secrete mucus to cover exposed olfactory epithelium. The olfactory epithelium contains 3 types of cells: the olfactory receptor neurons, the supporting cells, and the basal cells. Olfactory receptor neurons bind odor molecules, and each receptor is sensitive to many substances, contrary to the gustatory cells, which we learned earlier are sensitive to only one taste each. These olfactory receptor neurons have an axon that reaches up to the olfactory bulb and a dendrite that reaches down to the olfactory epithelium. This dendrite has a knobby end covered in cilia, which contains odor receptors. The cilia are fixed in mucus, and odorant molecules dissolve in this mucus to bind the receptors. Olfactory neurons are one of the rare types of neurons that are regenerated. Basal cells replace these neurons every 40 to 60 days. Similar to taste, with age, olfactory neurons will decline and taste will degrade. Odorant information must pass through several pathways. First, the odorant molecules bind to an odorant receptor in the olfactory epithelium. This triggers a signal which is carried through the primary sensory olfactory neurons. The axons of these neurons form the olfactory nerve called cranial nerve 1. The olfactory nerve synapses with the olfactory bulb and then travels through the olfactory tract to the olfactory cortex. Unlike gustatory pathways, the olfactory tract bypasses the thalamus. The olfactory pathway also projects to the amygdala and the hippocampus of the limbic system, areas associated with emotion and memory. This explains the strong link between smell and memory. True or false? Can your nose get tired from working? This is in fact true. Once olfactory receptors are stimulated, adaptation occurs quickly. So with exposure to strong smells, olfactory fatigue can cause the smell to seemingly dissipate. I'm going to leave you with a few questions for your consideration. From a survival perspective, why would our sense of smell be our most important sense? And finally, why is the human olfactory system undeveloped relative to many other animals? Thank you for your time.